You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q & Review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q & Review. That's @ CUEANDREVIEW.
This week's Kirkintilloch and Bishopbriggs Herald, date Wednesday the 19th of October 2022. Police named Kirky Man. Read today by myself, Ian. A man who was brought up in the town has been named by Irish police as one of those killed in the Kirkintilloch petrol station explosion. Martin McGill, 49, was one of 10 people who lost their lives in the blast in County Donegal on October the 7th in what investigators believe is suspected to be a gas leak. Martin spent his childhood years growing up in Kirkintilloch and was described by those who knew him as being a passionate football fan, particularly for Celtic FC. The Garda, Irish Police Service, has now released a picture of Martin and, in a statement, confirmed his identity along with others caught up in the blast, the youngest of whom was only 5 years old. Mr. McGill was described by some close to him as a devoted son who cared for his elderly mother. He regularly made visits to the village pharmacy to collect her prescriptions. He moved to Kirkintilloch to look after both his parents, but his father had since died. Irish national broadcaster RTE has reported that the Irish President Michael Higgins is expected to attend 8 of the funerals, missing 2 on Tuesday last week due to a prior engagement in France. The first funerals of the victims took place on October 11. The service for Martin took place at St Michael's Church in Kirkintilloch last Tuesday, with his burial afterwards in the Doe Cemetery. The King has sent a message of condolence following the loss of the 10 lives in the explosion, as did the Holy Father, Pope Francis. Books of condolence were opened across Ireland. Wednesday the 19th of October 2022. This week in history. October 19, 1914, the First Battle of Ypres began. On this day last year, Tesco announced it would be launching its first checkout-free high street store where shoppers can pick up their groceries and leave without the need for a till. October the 20th, 1973, the Sydney Opera House was opened by the Queen. October the 21st, 1966, disaster struck the small Welsh mining village of Aberfan when a colliery slag tip slipped down the side of a hill and engulfed a row of houses, a farm and a school. Of the 144 people who died, 116 were children. On this day last year, a conservation charity launched an £8 million public appeal to buy an estate which would become a red squirrel superhighway. October the 22nd, 1974, a bomb exploded in Brooks Club in London, near a restaurant where the opposition leader of the time, Edward Heath, was dining. On this day last year, more disadvantaged pupils and children from Afghanistan received laptops and tablets as part of a £126 million funding package. October 23, 1942, the Second Battle of El Alamein began with 1,000 tanks aimed on Italian and German troops. October 24, 1948, Franz Lehár, Hungarian composer of operettas including The Merry Widow, died in Vienna, aged 78. Awaiting sentencing. Report by Conor Gordon. A Kirkintilloch woman who hurled sectarian abuse at her neighbour in addition to spitting on a police officer is awaiting sentence for her offences. Anne Lindsay, 58, made the remarks towards Michaela Hay at their block of flats in Bishopbriggs, East Dunbartonshire, on May the 18th, 2021. Lindsay, now of Kirkintilloch, shouted, "You're a cow and I'm going to get away with this. Cheerio to your 10 in a row, you Fenian." B. Expletive deleted. The light was later picked up by a police officer who was spat on by Lindsay during a tirade. Lindsay pled guilty at Glasgow Sheriff Court to breaching bail conditions by contacting Miss Hay. She also admitted behaving in a threatening or abusive manner, as well as culpable and reckless conduct. The court heard that Lindsay was granted bail for a separate matter in February 2021, with instructions not to contact Miss Hay. The victim was in her flat when she heard shouting and swearing coming from Lindsay's property. Miss Hay recorded Lindsay making the sectarian comments on her mobile phone. A 999 call was made, and officers later found Miss Hay visibly upset. Lindsay was arrested by police officers who attended the call as she continued to shout and swear. She stated, "Aye, it's because of that wee grass up there," in direct reference to Miss Hay. Lindsay then shouted to the flat above that she was going to murder Miss Hay. She then turned their attention to PC Linda McCafferty and told her, "I'm going to do you in." Lindsay was taken into custody, where she continued to shout and swear close to PC McCafferty. Prosecutor, Deputy Fiscal Sarah Latta, added, "As she did so, spittle from within her mouth left her mouth and landed on PC McCafferty's shoulder." Lindsay was held in custody at the time she was arrested originally. Sentence was deferred pending background reports until next month by Sheriff Stuart Reid. Lindsay had her bail continued meantime.
Clothing grants as recorded by Hunter MacDonald. Parents across Scotland can still register with East Dunbartonshire Council to get help with the costs of school clothing and footwear for the 2022-2023 academic year. And given that winter is now on its way, it's a little financial help for those who need it the most. This help is called the School Clothing Grant and is a cash payment worth at least £120, which is paid directly into your bank account. Applications are open until the end of March 2023, and while most payments are typically made before the new school year starts in August, it can vary between councils. Everyone who receives a school clothing grant will be given at least £120 per child of primary school age and £150 per child of secondary school age. Find out more by visiting the dedicated website at www.mygov.scot/clothing-grants. Greer applauds rent freeze. Ross Greer, the Scottish Greens MSP for East Dunbartonshire, has welcomed the Scottish Parliament's vote to introduce a national rent freeze and new protections from evictions. The measures introduced by Scottish Greens co-leader and Minister for Tenants' Rights Patrick Harvey MSP were overwhelmingly passed within the Scottish Parliament. They will provide vital protection for tenants over the winter and last until at least 31st of March 2023, with the option to extend if required. These changes will help tenants across East Dunbartonshire, where the average monthly rent is £534, which is an increase of 18.9% since 2010. Greer, Green MSP for East Dunbartonshire, said, "These vital changes will provide stability and support for households and families across East Dunbartonshire and beyond at a time when many are being hit by soaring costs and bills. I'm proud that the first ever bill passed by a Green Minister will help keep a roof over people's heads and money in their pockets during this winter. These are the most progressive set of tenants' rights anywhere in the UK. The legislation, which will last until at least the end of March 2023, shows that Scotland is leading the way in responding to the cost of living crisis, not just in the UK but across Europe. With Greens in the Scottish Government, we are leading the change and building a fairer, greener and better future for our communities." DWP says there are vacancies. The Department for Work and Pensions are working with local employers who are looking for staff to fill immediate vacancies for the upcoming festive season. Kirstine McInnes, Employer and Partnership Manager for East Dunbartonshire, said, "With the festive season fast approaching, the hospitality industry is working with Job Centre Plus to fill local shortages. Importantly, our dedicated online hospitality section means there is 24-hour information for job seekers. Job Centre work coaches are focused on helping employers get the people and the economy needs, regularly hosting hospitality-specific recruitment events Many offer jobs on the spot. Our Find a Job website signposts claimants to jobs, with there are 11,000 jobs in hospitality and catering. From job opportunities and job centres to skills and academies for people considering a new career, there's a huge amount of help available, and our work coaches are working tirelessly to get people any age or career stage into rewarding and stable employment. Margarita Morrison, Director for Job Centre Plus in Scotland, said, "We know from speaking with employers they want great candidates to fill their vacancies. For job seekers, the good news is there are jobs out there. Our 50-plus Scottish Jobs Fair can short-circuit the recruitment process by bringing job seekers face-to-face with employers. Job centres across East Dunbartonshire are working closely with employers to support their specific recruitment needs in the local area." RAF help available. The RAF Benevolent Fund, the RAF's leading welfare charity, has appointed new specialist caseworkers to support members of the RAF family in East Dunbartonshire and across Scotland. The team of welfare support executives, WSEs, provide specialist caseworking support to members of the RAF family that call their helpline asking for support. They visit beneficiaries at home to assess the individual circumstances and to create a tailored support plan. This could involve assisting the applicant to complete a fund application form, but it could also involve supporting the applicant to navigate statutory welfare services to which they are entitled, support from the NHS, local authorities or other charities. If you know a member of the RAF family need, please go to rafbf.org.
Santa Dash is back for 2022. Runners are limbering up for Glasgow's first Santa Dash in 3 years. The much-loved Christmas event will return to the city on Sunday, December the 11th at 10 a.m, and anyone keen to take part is under starters orders, and registration is now open. A new route around Glasgow Green and the Gorbals will be in place for the iconic 5k family fun run, and this year's event will also be more sustainable. Reusable t-shirts printed with Santa suits will replace the old single-use costumes. Runners who take part in the sponsored event can raise funds for their chosen charity. Register to take part at the Santa Dash at the event's dedicated website at www.glasgow.gov.uk/Santa-Dash. Opening up its homes. More refugees due to stay with hosts in East Dunbartonshire have arrived in the UK in the last month, figures show. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in March, refugees from the war have been invited to stay in the UK under Ukrainian sponsorship and family schemes. The former sets up refugees with hosts in the UK for an initial 6 months, who receive support from their local council and a stipend of £350. New figures from the Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities show 60 Ukrainian refugee households due in East Dunbartonshire, from 68 successful applications, had arrived in the UK by October the 4th under the sponsorship scheme. This was up from 55 arrivals on September the 6th, when 65 visas had been issued. The Scottish Government has further sponsored individuals directly through its Super Sponsor scheme, which has seen 30,520 visas issued to individuals without a named sponsor in Scotland, of which 16,369 had arrived by October the 4th. In July, the government announced a temporary operational pause on new applications to the scheme. Some charities have expressed concern that mounting pressure on host families could lead to refugees becoming homeless this winter. Figures show the number of homeless refugee households in England increased by 22% to 1,915 in the month to September the 23rd. Stan Baines, a trustee for Opora, a charity which helps Ukrainians settling in the UK, says that support from Westminster has too often fallen short, and that charities and other organisations have been left to fill the gaps. In September, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon announced an additional £50 million fund to help house refugees across Scotland. A spokesperson for DLUHC said, "We are grateful to the British public for opening up their communities to the people of Ukraine and the generosity they have shown. The majority of sponsors want to continue hosting for longer than 6 months. Where guests do move on, they have a number of options, including to enter private rental or find a new host to sponsor them. Councils have a duty to ensure families are not left without a roof over their heads, they added.
Yet more jab delays. An 84-year-old man from Lenzie has lambasted NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde over yet more delays at the Town Hall vaccination centre. This follows hot on the heels of an apology to local MSP Rona Mackay issued by Professor Angela Wallace, Director for Nursing at NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, which featured in the Herald only last week. John Hunter, 84, received an appointment for Tuesday, October 11th at 9 a.m, but when he arrived at Kirky Town Hall, was forced to join a queue which he stood in for 2 hours in the rain and wind before finally getting inside, where he received his booster and flu vaccinations. John's wife Isabel commented, "When he left the building, the queue was already halfway down Union Street. It was raining and cold. What a way to treat people." Professor Wallace's apologies mean nothing unless action follows, which in this case they clearly did not. So much for the worthless apologies from NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde. A spokesman for the NHS said, "Since the start of our winter vaccination programme rollout, which covered COVID-19 boosters and flu, NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde has administered more than 310,000 vaccines, putting us well on course to deliver more than 630,000 vaccinations during this time. Our teams are working tirelessly to ensure those receiving their vaccines are administered both swiftly and safely. We apologise to anyone who has had to wait longer than expected. Teams are working hard to address a small number of issues by redeploying staff to affected clinics, with 70 new vaccinators who will support across our sites, also trained in recent weeks. To help prevent waits, please arrive only a few minutes ahead of your appointment time. If anyone is concerned about accessing a clinic, we would encourage them to call the national helpline on 0800 030 8013. That's 0800 030 8013. Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay said, "I'm very sorry to hear of the problems faced by the local resident. I will be continuing to monitor the situation." Read by Alan Todd.
New land use webinars. People in East Dunbartonshire are being invited to learn more about land rights and responsibilities in a new free series of webinars. Kicking off on 19th of October, the informal 45-minute lunchtime sessions aim to stimulate practical change in how land is owned, used and managed. The Scottish Land Commission's Land at Lunch bite-sized briefings are the cornerstone of its good practice autumn-winter training programme and will cover a varied range of topics drawing on the work of the Commission to date. The series will start by exploring changes to the newly updated Scottish Land Rights and Responsibilities Statement and what this means for people. Other sessions will look at identifying the owner of land, tackling vacant and derelict land, and managing natural capital responsibly. Participants will be able to ask questions and are invited to join from home or work, bringing their lunch along or even listen in while taking a walk.
Invite to sign up for an active autumn. Colleagues from Scottish workplaces are invited to ditch the desk and walk the walk by signing up to get active and compete in a national autumn walking challenge. Teams of 5 can now register for the 2022 Autumn Step Count Challenge, managed by Scottish walking charity Pass for All. The popular and long-standing workplace initiative encourages colleagues to come together and discover fun and exciting ways to stay active in and around the working day. Beginning on Monday the 31st October, the challenge will run for 4 weeks throughout November. Earlier this year, 834 teams took part in the 8-week Spring Step Count Challenge when over 4,000 people took over 2.2 billion steps. Despite cooling temperatures and darker nights, the charity expects eager teams, both new and returning, to don their favourite walking shoes again this autumn. Carl Greenwood, Senior Development Officer at Pass for All, said, "Walking is increasingly recognised as a rewarding, low-carbon and incredibly beneficial form of physical activity, travel and recreation. We're delighted to see the number of participating teams increasing each year, owing to the enthusiasm of Scottish workplace to get active. We love seeing the enjoyment and benefit teams take from their involvement in the Step Count Challenge, which attracts those of all ages and abilities. The challenge is a positive step for workers to take, with those taking part enjoying mental, social and physical boosts. Workplaces are placing more emphasis on staff well-being and flexibility for physical activity. Being active helps to increase focus and productivity, improves well-being and reduces stress. We encourage as many teams as possible to take part and to really enjoy the benefits that walking offers. Teams can track their daily walked or cycled miles and can access a carbon calculator to measure the positive impact making local journeys on foot has on the environment. Everyone taking part will be automatically entered into a prize draw to win a £1,000 gift voucher from McDonald Hotels and Resorts. To register your team of 5 for £30 for the Autumn Challenge, visit www.stepcount.org.uk.
More cash help. Families of an estimated 145,000 children will benefit from extra support this winter to help with cost of living pressures, backed by Scottish Government investment of £18.9 million. Bridging payments were introduced in 2021 ahead of the extension of the Scottish Child Payment to 6 to 15-year-olds. The final quarterly bridging payment, due in December, will now be doubled to £260, meaning families will receive up to £650 per eligible child this year. All children registered to receive free school meals on the basis of family low income are eligible and will receive this payment automatically. This is in addition to the Scottish Child Payment, which will be extended to all eligible under 16s from 14th November and will rise to £25 per week per child on the same date, a 150% increase in the benefit within 8 months.
NHS signs the pledge. NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, NHS GGC, has signed up to Changing Faces #Pledge to Be Seen campaign. In signing the pledge, NHS GGC is committing to representing more people with a visible difference in publications and campaigns. 1 in 5 people in the UK identify as having a visible difference, such as a scar, mark or condition that affects their appearance. Despite this, more than half of those who responded to Changing Faces independent research feel ignored by organisations or brands. Dr Amelia Crichton, Interim Director of Public Health at NHS GGC, said, "Providing fair and equitable healthcare for all is at the heart of the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, and we are acutely aware of how important it is to accurately represent our diverse community in all our materials and campaigns. Our ongoing commitment to building a fairer workplace for everyone means creating an environment where diversity is valued, better equipping us to appropriately support our patient community. This pledge reinforces our resolve to ensure that anyone with a visible difference feels both seen and heard by our organisation." Kayla McLaughlin from Castlemilk is a campaigner for Changing Faces. She said, "I'm proud that an organisation as significant as NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde has agreed to back Changing Faces' Pledge to Be Seen campaign. Better representation is key to greater acceptance of difference. Everyone with a scar, mark or visible condition should feel comfortable seeing themselves represented by organisations working in our communities. Every organisation, like NHS GGC, that signs up to the Pledge to Be Seen is helping make more positive representations to a reality for everyone with a visible difference and their families." Dr Rebecca Crawford, Consultant Clinical Psychologist with NHS GGC, also recognises the positive impact that can be made by better representation. "I have worked with many service users who have visible differences, and I am only too aware of the negative response that people may have to deal with in various aspects of their lives."
Funding is now available. East Dunbartonshire Arts Council supports groups in the arts and culture voluntary sector with small grants, and they want to hear from you if you need a little financial help. Currently, the organisation can offer up to £500 to groups and £100 to young people as individuals in their own right to attend national arts events. EDAC receives funding from East Dunbartonshire Community Grant Scheme and disburses on their behalf. A spokesperson said, These small grants are a lifeline for singing groups, history societies, book groups, painting classes, craft groups and a lot more besides, and we'd love to hear from as many people or groups as possible. And maybe you need more equipment, you have hall or room rents to pay for your group, and perhaps a painting group needs more easels to put on an exhibition. We are not limited and are prepared to consider all applications received from groups working in the arts or cultural voluntary sector.
Guide to Our Wild Waters. Molly explores a blue Scotland. Report by Jolly Curry. You get the feeling talking to Molly Hughes that there's nothing this adventurer wouldn't try, at least once. A world record-breaking sports adventurer, mountaineer, polar explorer and international motivational speaker, in 2017 she broke the world record for becoming the youngest woman to climb both sides of Mount Everest. In 2020 she became the youngest woman to ski solo to the South Pole, and in December of that year she was also the first woman to become president of Scout Scotland. Like everyone else, Molly's adventurous spirit was curtailed when the pandemic saw the world locked down in March 2020. She had just returned to Edinburgh in January, having spent 2 months in splendid isolation in Antarctica, and found herself locked indoors, no longer able to travel. All of her engagements were also postponed, meaning Molly has little to occupy her time, until she hit on the idea of exploring closer to home and writing a book about her discoveries. The end result, Blue Scotland, the ultimate guide to exploring Scotland's wild waters, has just been published. A travellogue and guide for those who want to explore Scotland's rugged coastlines, pristine beaches, endless rivers and deep lochs. It is beautifully photographed too, thanks to Molly's friend Rachel Keenan from Glasgow, who joined her in many of her adventures. With Scotland a magnet for outdoor enthusiasts from all over the world, Molly tried but failed to find a guide for the best places to paddleboard, kayak, swim and surf. And that's how she hit on the concept for the book, spending the first part of lockdown mapping out world-class surfing, kayaking adventures, urban paddleboarding and invigorating wild swims. When restrictions started to ease, Molly began with adventures closer to home before branching further afield when travel once again became an option. There are very many beautiful places all over Scotland to discover in Blue Scotland's 223 beautifully photographed pages, and Molly hopes it will serve both Scots and visitors well. She said, "I'd only just returned to Edinburgh from Antarctica when the world went into lockdown. I'd also recently taken up paddleboarding, and I was looking for a good guidebook but couldn't find one. That's how I hit on the idea of the book, but the more I looked into it, the more I realised I needed to expand it more, looking at our blue spaces in general and the opportunities they presented for wild swimming, kayaking and surfing too. There are so many places to enjoy all over Scotland, from urban canals to beautiful lochs and beaches." With the seed sown for the book, Molly hooked in publisher Berlin and her friend Rachel and started researching the best areas to explore around the country. Initially, in 2020, her discoveries were closer to home, paddleboarding on the Forth, canals near her home in Edinburgh, and the Clyde in Glasgow. However, in 2021, as lockdown restrictions eased, she was able to travel to blue spaces all over the country and document the best adventures out there. With Molly's own personal experiences and tips, and Rachel studying photography, the book will enable wild water sports fans of all levels to make the most of the amazing opportunities on her doorstep. Molly said, "I asked Rachel if she would take the photographs. I've known her for some time. She's an incredible adrenaline sports photographer, and I knew she was the woman for the job. She was very excited about joining the project, and her photographs are incredible. Hopefully it makes people want to dive in and explore." While Molly and Rachel covered some territory they already knew well, it was also a voyage of discovery for them both, and one they clearly relished. "I'd already been to the Outer Hebrides and down the west coast, so I knew they'd be amazing," said Molly. "However, I'd never been up to the far north coast before, and it was incredible. So many amazing locations where you feel so remote from the central belt. It was beautiful. The book was a great excuse to explore all these places, and we had a lot of fun doing it." Molly's book is tapping into a growing market of Scots who want to enjoy a wide range of water sports right here at home. She added, The pandemic saw a surge in the number of people looking to enjoy adventures closer to home, from people taking up well-done swimming in our lochs to paddleboarding down the Clyde. When I saw the book for the first time, it was incredible to have something tangible that I could hold on to, remember our adventures. It was really cool. It's a pretty good description for a deep dive into Scotland's wild waters. Blue Scotland is available now from www.berlin.co.uk, price £20, and that's www.birlinn.co.uk, price £20.
700 more staff at NHS GGC as part of new intake. A record 700 newly qualified nurses, NQNs, and midwives have joined NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde as part of this year's graduate intake for 2022. The new staff will play a crucial role in support the health service as it continues to respond to COVID-19 and wider healthcare challenges. The vast majority of nurses and midwives have come from universities across the west of Scotland and will be working across all NHS GGC hospitals and in the community across all 6 HSCP areas. Many of those joining the ranks already have significant experience within the health service, having worked on placements through the height of the pandemic, with many also joining earlier this year as Band 4 staff to support the health service during this difficult period. The new raft of staff bring the total core numbers of nurses and midwives employed by NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde to more than 13,400. Professor Angela Wallace, Director of Nursing for NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, said, "With 700 additional nurses and midwives joining the wards, we expect to see a significant positive impact on the delivery of services across sites in coming weeks and months. Nurses and midwives form the backbone of our core workforce, lead the way in delivering person-centred compassionate care, and are ambassadors for the NHS. I'm proud to see so many choose to join NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde this year. They will be a huge asset to the service, and with experience already gained, will be invaluable in supporting us as we move into the winter period." Strathkelvin and Bearsden SNP MSP Rona Mackay welcomed the news, wished the new recruits well, and praised the dedication and commitment of the NHS workforce in Scotland. She said, "The role of a nurse has developed into the highly skilled graduate service that it is today. Nurses remain at the very heart of our health service. They care for patients not just in hospital wards, but in GP practices, homes and care homes, and in all our communities right across the country." Ms Mackay added, "We are also extremely proud that Scotland's maternity services are delivered by highly educated, skilled and dedicated midwives."
Food Standards Agency publishes local ratings. New food hygiene ratings have been awarded to 34 of East Dunbartonshire's establishments, the Food Standards Agency website shows. Restaurants, cafes and canteens. The past ratings have been given to 20 restaurants, cafes or canteens. Tim Hortons at Cross Hill Road, Bishopbriggs, rated on October the 6th. Pro Bowl at Base Bowl Limited, Kirkintilloch, rated September the 30th. Mellow at 45 Milguy Road, Bearsden, rated on September the 29th. Galoni's at 77 Townhead, Kirkintilloch, rated on September the 28th. Courtyard Cafe at Cowgate, Kirkintilloch, rated on September the 27th. Old School at 9 Douglas Street, Milguy, rated on September the 15th. Denisi at Kirkintilloch, rated on September the 13th. La Vita Pizzeria at Bishopbriggs, rated on September the 13th. Bearsden Ski Club, Bearsden, rated on September the 9th. Beauclair Academy Community Cafe, Bearsden, rated on September the 9th. Cothell at 78 Drimmen Road, Bearsden, rated on September the 9th. Copley Gelateria, Milguy, rated on August 29th. Merklin Cafe, Kirkintilloch, rated on August 18th. Hillhart Coffee Company, Bearsden, rated on August the 17th. Woodhill Evangelical Church, Bishopbriggs, rated on August the 9th. Monmouth Kitchen, Bearsden, rated on July 26th. Shodstadt Centre, Kennetich Way, Milton of Campsie, rated on July 21st. Rajarani, Bearsden, rated on May the 20th. Improvement required, Classic India, Mulgai, and Mariana, Kirkintilloch. And 2 pass ratings have been handed to pubs, bars or nightclubs, Kirkintilloch Miners Welfare and Social Club, and Kirkintilloch Golf Club. Takeaways. Pass ratings were given to a number of takeaways: Moss General Store, Lindsay; Loonhing Takeaway, Bearsden; Peony at Douglas Street, Mulgai; Silver Kitchen, Mulgai; Yo To Go, Mulgai; Lupin Scoop, Bearsden; Scallop's Tail, Bearsden; Gianni's at Bishopbriggs; Cafe Prego, Mulgai; Frank's Fish Chip and Pizza Place, Bishopbriggs; Chinese Blossom, Bishopbriggs; Sun Garden Chinese Takeaway, Lindsay.
Family announcements. Deaths. Dury, David. Peacefully at Glasgow Royal Infirmary on Sunday, October 9th, 2022. David Roberts, beloved husband of the late Avril, much loved dad of Mark, Laura and Beth, and a loving grandpa to Max, Zoe, Matthew, Lewis and Jack. Funeral service to take place on Saturday, October 22nd, 2022, at Daldowie Crematorium, arriving at 12 noon. No flowers, please. Donations will be gracefully received after the service in aid of Marie Curie. Jap, John. Peacefully in Perth, Australia, on October 5th, 2022. Devoted husband of the late Jean Jap, loving father to George and Jean Kenny, papa to Sharon, Stephen, Laura and Catherine, and great papa to Gemma and Riley. Father-in-law to the late Jim Kenny, who will be held in great regard. Will sadly be missed by all.
Students Breakthrough Health of Elderly Study. A former New College Lanarkshire student has completed a health study which could help improve the health of elderly patients right across Scotland. Mandy McConville, who is now in her final year of a sociology honours degree course at Glasgow Caledonian University, received a Carnegie Trust scholarship to research the socio-economic impact of vitamin D deficiency in the elderly in Glasgow. The student has now had her findings and recommendations submitted to the Scottish Government's Health Secretary, Hamza Youssef. She praised her lecturers at the university, and in particular Professor John McKendrick, for their outstanding support which allowed her this amazing experience. The former writer and graphic designer also hailed her lecturers at New College Lanarkshire in Cumbernauld for their contribution towards her success. Mandy went back to study at the college at the age of 47 to seek new challenges. She said, "This research would not have happened had it not been for the skills forged and knowledge fired within New College Lanarkshire's HND Social Sciences course. I can testify, as a current 4th year honours student at GCU, that there really is a future in every course. My current path will hopefully lead to a PhD scholarship next year, but none of it would have been possible without the help and guidance of the amazing staff at New College Lanarkshire. 2 lecturers in particular have pushed me to be my best self, John Gould and Chris Premrose. Even today they are still pushing me to be my best self, and I am forever grateful for the day John offered me a place on HND1 Social Sciences. There I met Chris, who is easily the nicest, most selfless and knowledgeable man I have ever known. I would go back to New College Lanarkshire in a heartbeat just to sit in his class and drink in his knowledge. In contrast to Chris, John is the calm that grounded me in my stormy weather and kept me looking up even in the darkest of times. John, Chris and the whole team at New College Lanarkshire taught me to see that there is only one person holding you back in life, yourself. Believe in yourself as they will, challenge yourself as they will challenge you, and enrol at New College, Lanarkshire. I promise it will be the best decision you will ever make. Professor Christopher Moore, Principal of New College, Lanarkshire, said, "It is always immensely satisfying to hear of the success of our alumni like Mandy. It's particularly rewarding to hear of the impact made by outstanding lecturers like John Gould and Chris Primrose. All of us at New College, Lanarkshire are proud of Mandy's achievements so far and of the potential positive impact her research will have on Scotland's elderly population. We wish her every success in her academic career and beyond."
Opinion. Let's talk. Wednesday the 19th of October 2022, Kirkintilloch Herald, letters page. Please send your letters via email to kirkyherald@jnscotland.co.uk and write letters in the subject field. These days it's nothing but delay. Sir, why are there so many delays these days between waiting on council housing, new houses being built, when flats in the East End and Laresland being opened, road and pavement repairs, doctor's appointments and the COVID vaccination queues as reported in your newspaper? Also, I'm disabled and wish people would be more mindful of where they leave their bins and pavements because they can get in the way of my mobility scooter. I hope the council will remember to get it paths and pavements and not just roads when winter comes. Yours etc. James Pettigrew, Kirkintilloch. Bonds chaos should give indie backers some pause. Sir, I am no economist, but it seems to me that the recent turmoil in the bonds market arising from the UK government's mini-budget proposals should give supporters of independence pause for thought. The SNP allege that when they have levers of power, they will be able to manage the Scottish economy in a better manner than is currently the case. However, I presume one of the major levers will be their ability to borrow money, and I assume this would be issuing Scottish Government bonds. Given that market pressure has significantly increased the interest rate which investors are demanding in return for investing in UK Government bonds, which is directly related to the perceived risk of investing in these bonds, what sort of return on their investment would investors be looking to achieve when investing in Scottish Government bonds? As a new state with no track record and no central bank, presumably the Scottish Government bonds will be regarded as a pretty risky investment and priced accordingly. Bearing in mind that interest rates generally are set to continue to rise, how will interest on the vast sums borrowed be serviced, let alone the repayment of the capital? Yours etc. Kate Marshall, by email. Benefits we enjoy thanks to Scottish Government. Sir, I for one am happy that I live in Scotland and can reap the benefits that the Scottish devolved government has brought to all in Scotland. I hear all the moans and complaints about budgets and spending, but if I lived south of the border, I would have to pay something like £43 to get my prescriptions. My trips to the local hospital would not be to the same good standard according to the information that has been reported for those in England. Also, I will be looking northward to get a proportion of my electricity from mainly renewable Scottish generation. Finally, if we're a United Kingdom, there must be a proportion of the Bank of England we have contributed to that would belong to an independent Scotland, especially as a major chunk came from oil from our waters. In the main, I thank my lucky stars I am where I am, and the prospects for the future are looking bright compared to the mess that Westminster has to offer. Yours etc. John Cutland, address supplied. Electric car death knell for caravan industry. Sir, the Centre for Economics and Business Research, CEBR, has published a cost-benefit analysis of the government's plan to ban petrol and diesel cars by 2030. It shows that this plan cost every household £1,000 a year from 2022 to 2050. Incredibly, the government has not published a cost-benefit analysis of its own. The CEBR, however, did not factor in the effect of electrifying the car fleet on the caravan industry, which is worth £6 billion an annum to the UK economy in product sales and services and employs 130,000 people. Nearly all caravans sold in the UK today are manufactured by Swift at Cottingham, Bailey at Bristol, Eldis at Consett and Coachman in Hull. A British success story. Most caravans weigh over 1.5 tonnes, and many over 2 tonnes. Battery cars cannot tow them. This is just one industry which the government plans will wipe out through unintended consequence. How many more industries will fail because reliable diesel and petrol vehicles will no longer be available? Yours, etc., William Lonsky. Address supplied.
Strathkelvin Rail Path has reopened. A scenic route for walkers, cyclists, runners and wheelers has been put through its paces following extensive resurfacing works. Some 4,500 metres of the Strathkelvin railway path between Kilsyth Road in Kirkintilloch and Campsie Road in Lennoxtown has been transformed to provide a smooth surface for local residents and visitors. The popular route also forms part of the National Cycle Network, John Muir Way and Thomas Muir Heritage Trail. Funding was provided by the Council's Cycling, Walking and Safer Routes allocation from Transport Scotland and also Strathclyde Partnership for Transport, SPT. The project involved resurfacing, the installation of handrailing at the Kirkintilloch side and addressing damage caused by tree roots. Councillor Paul Ferretti, convener of the Council's Place, Neighbourhood and Corporate Assets Committee, said, "I am pleased to visit the newly resurfaced route and see for myself just what a difference this investment has made. It has always been popular, but its condition meant it wasn't always fully accessible for people of all ages and abilities. The path is perfect now to walk, cycle, run and scoot, from parents with prams to folk on a fitness journey to someone in a wheelchair out for a stroll. Thanks to everyone for their patience while improvements were carried out." Lorna Thompson founded Facebook active travel group Walk, Run, Cycle in and around East Dunbartonshire in 2020, and it now has more than 7,500 members, some of whom recently joined Councillor Ferretti to view the improvements. She said, "We're delighted the path is looking so good. It's one of a number of popular routes in East Dunbartonshire which our members use to relax, keep fit and enjoy the outdoors." Alan Moyer, Vice Chair of SPT, added, "We are delighted to see the completion of this popular path for all walkers and wheelers in the area. Through our capital programme, we've been able to make a significant investment in this important active travel route, linking a number of East Dunbartonshire communities."
Cost of living event to assist. 3 East Dunbartonshire parliamentarians have teamed up to stage a special event this month aimed at helping local residents to tackle the soaring cost of living. Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay, East Dunbartonshire MP Amy Callaghan, and Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East MP Stuart MacDonald are inviting local people to the Park Centre at 45 Kerr Street on Friday, October the 28th, where a number of organisations will be on hand to help. The drop-in cost of living advice event runs from 10 AM to 12 noon. Taking part are Citizens Advice, Home Energy Scotland, Certas, Babes in the Wood, Carers Link, Christians Against Poverty, East Dunbartonshire Food Bank, East Dunbartonshire Voluntary Action, G61/G62 Response, and G64 Response. Social Security Scotland will also be in hand with advice on the benefits which are devolved to Scotland that are available to East Dunbartonshire residents. In a joint message, elected representatives Rona Mackay MSP, Amy Callaghan MP and Stuart MacDonald MP, who will also be available at the cost of living event to support their constituents, told the Kirkintilloch Herald, "We hope that anyone who is worried about making ends meet during this soaring cost of living crisis will come along for advice and support. We have brought together a number of organisations under one roof to offer their expertise and guidance on everything from energy bills to managing household income and accessing social security payments to supporting the local community with essentials like food, toiletries and a school uniform." Top award for Kirky's Spirit of Alba. A Kirkintilloch businessman is in great spirits after winning a top award. Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Rona Mackay congratulated Jim Hopkins of Spirit of Alba, based in Kirkintilloch Town Centre, for taking the accolade of Specialist Spirits Retailer of the Year in the Glasgow area at the recent Scottish Enterprise Awards. The local SNP MSP presented Mr Hopkins with a special framed certificate from the Scottish Parliament to mark his success, Jim and his business partner Craig Simpson launched Spirit of Alba in 2020 during the height of lockdown. The store at Cowgate stocks more than 600 whiskies and numerous gins, as well as quality Scottish themed gifts. Ms Mackay said, Jim and his team thoroughly deserve the award, even more so as they launched Spirit of Alba during the challenging market conditions of the COVID pandemic and lockdown conditions, yet, despite it all, have turned it into such a success. I wish Jim and Craig all the best in their expanding business venture online. I am sure the business will go from strength to strength. Jim said he was delighted to receive the recognition from the Scottish Parliament and that winning the Scottish Enterprise Award can only be good news for the town as a whole. Jim and Craig also organised the first Spirit of Alba festival this summer in Kirkintilloch. Whisky and gin lovers from throughout East Dunbartonshire and Glasgow popped into the highly successful event in the town hall. They were able to sample an array of tipples exhibited by whisky, gin and rum distilleries. World Wonder at Safari Park. Girl Guiding members from across Scotland came together for a day of adventure at Blair Drummond Safari Park to mark Wonder the World Safari Edition. It was an opportunity for members to see amazing animals from around the world and engage with the Blair Drummond education team and charity partners as they described the importance of protecting local wildlife and environments. This was the first time since before the pandemic that Girl Guiding could host Wonder the World in person, so 3,500 girls, from rainbows, brownies, guides and rangers, alongside their brilliant adult volunteers, were excited to explore and enjoy. Providing opportunities for Girl Guiding members to understand how they can play a vital role in caring for animals, their habits and their ecosystems in general. The organisation's 2020 Girls in Scotland survey, 49% of girls said they were upset that the home's habitats of animals were being destroyed. Supporting girls and young women as they make an impact to the world around them and learn more about matters close to their hearts is at the core part of the Girl Guiding mission. In reward for their day of adventure, all girls were given Girl Guiding Wonder the World badges, which they can attach to their uniforms as a memory for years to come. Everyone, volunteers, adult staff and even the bus drivers, was also presented with animal headbands to wear for the day, filling the park with groups of tigers, giraffes and frogs. Emma Pettis, leader of the 38th Aberdeen Brownies, said, "This was a fantastic event. After more than 2 years of not being able to get together for large-scale events, it was wonderful, and a little emotional, to see Girl Guiding uniforms wherever you turned. My Brownies had a fab day out, seeing the animals, talking to the experts at the safari park, and learning more about the environment, thanks to great stalls arranged by Girl Guiding Scotland. Girl Guiding Scotland has 58,612 members and recognised volunteers. It is part of Girl Guiding UK, the country's largest voluntary organisation for girls and young women."
Nominate your butcher for Top Award. Customers across Scotland are being asked to nominate staff at their local butchers for a special industry award. The annual Scottish Craft Butchers Extra Mile Award will be presented to an individual who has gone above and beyond to support customers, colleagues and the business during the past year. Gordon King, Scottish Craft Butchers Executive Manager, said, "This is a chance for the public to recognise and reward someone at their local butcher shop who stands out from the crowd. Someone who has shown exceptional commitment to the trade, support to the customers or enthusiasm for the job. Customers must nominate their candidate by Friday, October 28th, explaining in 100 words or more why at www.craftbutchers.co.uk. That's www.craftbutchers.co.uk. The winner will receive £100 and the person whose nomination is chosen as the best will secure a £100 voucher for their butcher shop."
District News. Churches. Church of God. At Regent Hall, Regent Street, every Wednesday our coffee corner is open from noon to 2 p.m. for home baking and coffee. Join our friends and neighbours for a chat over coffee. On Sunday there will be a Zoom service at 6 p.m. The speaker this week will be evangelist and teacher Phil Brennan from Buxton, Derbyshire. A warm invitation to everyone who is able to join us on Zoom. Access details for the stream can be obtained by emailing hello@regenthall.org. For up-to-date and further information on our services, visit our website on www.regenthall.org. The Bible says, "If you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved." Romans 10 verse 9. St David's Memorial Park Church. At St David's Memorial Park Church, our morning service on October the 23rd will be at our usual time of 10:30 a.m. and will be led by our Church of Scotland reader John Nicholson. During our morning worship, school-aged children will have the opportunity to go through to our halls for their own time of fun and learning with JAM. All are welcome to attend our service. There are some COVID measures still in place. However, the wearing of face masks is not mandatory at this time. We look forward to welcoming you to the church. Our Tuesday lunchtime service will be held each Tuesday from noon in our small hall. Our next service will be Tuesday, October the 25th. All are welcome to attend this afternoon service. Our Friendship Club will be meeting on the same day from 1:30pm to 3:30pm. We would like to extend a warm invitation. Kenmure Parish Church. We will hold our monthly evening of praise and fellowship this Saturday from 7 to 8pm, to which all are welcome. The Sunday morning service will be led by George and Sheena Reid, and a warm welcome extended to all to join us in worship. The wearing of masks we leave to personal choice throughout the sanctuary. The service will be live streamed on YouTube and can be found by searching for Kenmure Bishopbriggs. Details of all of our groups that are currently running may be found on our website kenmure-church.co.uk. To find us on Facebook, just search for Kenmure Parish Church. If you would like to join our WhatsApp group or receive the Bible studies from ABC, then email us at kenmurechurch@icloud.com. Colston Well Park Church. A warm welcome to our church service this Sunday at 11am, read by Reverend Leslie Grieve. Tea and coffee served in the church hall after the service. The Colston Art Club will continue this Monday from 10am to 1pm. New members invited, and if interested, contact 07709 584 680. The 200 Boys Brigade has restarted, with company and seniors on Fridays at 7pm. The Brownies also have restarted and are on every Wednesday at 6:30pm. All girls aged from 7 to 10 years invited. Please note, all organisations will be closed during the school holidays. The food bank remains open every Monday and Friday from 2pm to 4pm, and all donations of non-perishable foods gratefully accepted. Follow our church services on Facebook at Colston Well Park Parish Church, and if you require further information on any of our church activities, etc., contact Leslie Grieve on 07813 255 052. Home Church, Scotland, Lammermoor Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 2A. Let us be brave then and approach God's throne where there is grace. There we will find mercy and find grace to help us just when we need it. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 16. One Church, Home Church, 4 locations: Kirkintilloch, Glasgow, Stornoway and online. A church for all ages. 9:30am communion, 10am prayer time, 10:30am fellowship, tea and coffee available, 11am worship service in Children's Church followed by tea and coffee. The Sunday evening service is in Renfield Centre, Bath Street, Glasgow at 7pm. Minibus leaves the home church at 6:30pm. Wednesdays at 7:15pm is a fellowship night, including a time of prayer and Bible study. No meetings on Wednesday the 19th of October. Bible study in Glasgow at Renfield Centre on Wednesday at 7:30pm. Alpha is on Thursdays at 6:30pm in Kirkintilloch. Youth meet on Friday at 7:30pm for Youth Alpha and Fellowship. Our winter kitchen will run every Saturday at 6pm from October to April for a meal, a warm place and fellowship. See Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date information. Springfield Cambridge Church. Morning worship on Sunday, October the 23rd, will be led by Reverend Ian Taylor, Reverend Edison Duque de Castro, and Mrs. Julie Harty at 11 a.m. in the sanctuary. The Sunday school meets in room 2. There is also a creche facility where we will be happy to look after your child, birth to 3 years, in room 2. Morning worship is also being live streamed on the Springfield Cambridge Church YouTube channel. A link to this can be found on the Springfield Cambridge Church website, www.springfieldcambridge.org.uk, and Facebook page, where up-to-date information about events and church organisations can also be found. Tea and coffee are available after the service in the Cameron Hall. Come along and enjoy the fellowship. There will be a vestry hour on Wednesday, 19th of October, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for anyone who wishes to speak with the minister. There will be a short weekly service of worship in the Springfield Chapel on Wednesday the 19th of October from 11:10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. with refreshments afterwards in the Hall of Fellowship. We are relaunching our successful junior chorus at Springfield Cambridge Church as part of the Springfield Cambridge Festival Chorus with a taster session on Sunday, October the 23rd from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. Come along and join the fun. Boys and girls aged 7 to 14 are all welcome to come and see what it's like to sing. No addition required and no fee. All music will be provided on the day. Further information from Catherine Taylor, our junior chorus leader. Lenzie Union Parish Church. Sunday worship on October the 23rd is at 11 a.m, led by Reverend Dan Carmichael. There is tea and coffee in the new hall after the service. Young people are also welcome to the Lighthouse and Bible class. A live stream of the service is available on YouTube via our website. The Meeting Place coffee shop is open on Wednesdays 10 a.m. to noon in the new hall. Meet your friends and enjoy a chat over a cup of tea or coffee. Everyone, from the very young to the young at heart, is welcome to attend. We also have a good selection of greeting cards and the second-hand books for sale. The coffee pot is open on Fridays 10 a.m. to noon in the new hall for teas, coffees and chat. St Mary's Parish Church. The service on Sunday, October the 23rd will begin at 11 a.m. The young church will meet in the church halls for age-appropriate activities. Wednesday welcome will take place on Wednesday, October the 19th, beginning at 10 a.m. A short service will follow at 11 a.m. Everyone is welcome to come and join us for tea, coffee and home baking. On Saturday, November the 12th, a craft fair will be held in the church halls. It opens at 10 a.m. and there are a variety of craft stalls plus a tea room serving tea, coffee, home baking and soup, and bacon rolls from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Lenzie Old Parish Church. Sunday morning worship at 11 a.m. is conducted by Reverend Lewis McClements, Sunday School for children aged 3 years to P7, and Focuser for young people. A creche is available for children under 3. Time Out, a friendly and welcoming group for ladies of all ages, meet in the church hall on Mondays at 7:45 p.m. Thursday Club meets on Thursday, October the 20th at 2 p.m. in the church hall. Enjoy tea and coffee and home baking, followed by a game of Scrabble, Dominoes, Rummikub or Uno. All are welcome. Scottish Country Dancing is on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. in the church hall, a gentle form of exercise for body and mind. Come and Sing, the dementia-friendly singing group, meets on Tuesday, October the 25th at 1:15 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. in the church hall. A warm welcome awaits all, and of course a cuppa with some delicious home baking. Please feel free to come and sing. Torrens Parish Church. The morning service, in person, is at 10:30 a.m. conducted by Reverend Stuart Irvin. During the service, the youngsters meet together in creche, junior church and FORG. To join the service online, click www.torrensparishchurch.online.church. The cafe is open every Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon, for teas or coffees and delicious home baking. Why not come and taste for yourself? The prayer ministry team will also be available from 10:30 to noon. The Girls' Brigade meet on Wednesdays at 6:15pm to 8:15pm, P1 to S6, and the Boys' Brigade meet on Thursdays 7pm to 9pm, P7 to S6. To find out about regular weekly activities, check the website for what's on at www.tpc.org.uk. St Columba's Hillhead Church. Do join us for our Sunday morning service at St Columba's at 10am or at Hillhead at 11:30am. Tea, coffee and juice served after the service at St Columba's and before the service at Hillhead. We'd love to meet you, but if you really can't come to the service in person, you can still connect with us via live stream from St Columba's via www.kirkintillochstcolumba's.org.uk or by searching for St Columba's Hillhead Kirkintilloch on YouTube. We also have a shorter midweek service at St Columba's on Wednesdays at 10am. Busy Bees Carer and Toddler Group is at Hillhead on Wednesdays at 10am, and Little Fishes Carer and Toddler Group is on Fridays at 10am at St Columba's. No pre-registration needed. First Kirkintilloch BB meets on Friday evening for school-age boys. We also have two groups for children and adults with learning difficulties, Friendship Club and Following Jesus Group. Reverend Philip Wright, Minister, St Columba's, Hillhead Church, Oldale Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 3HQ, and 2 Rosebank Avenue, Kirkintilloch, G66 2PR. P. Wright at churchofscotland.org.uk, mobile 07427 623 393. Wednesday the 19th of October 2022, District News, General. Kirkintilloch players. Kirkintilloch players are pleased to announce that tickets are available now for one of the renowned Geoffrey Archer's great plays, Beyond Reasonable Doubt. Set in the Old Bailey, Sir David Metcalfe, distinguished QC and Chairman of the Bar Council, is conducting one of the most important defences of his career, his own. Accused of the willful murder of his terminally ill wife, Sir David finds himself locked in legal combat with his old rival, Sir Anthony Blair Booth QC, prosecuting a counsel. The play will be performed from November the 7th to 12th in the Turret Theatre, Kirkintilloch. Tickets are £12, concessions £10. Book via the website www.kirkintillochplayers.co.uk. After School Club Lift Trophy. Lenzie After School Club football team had their first school game and it turned out to be a real thriller. The team played very well and competed against a good Lenzie Meadow side in what turned out to be a closely contested football match. The final score was a 6-5 win for the After School Club. A great start, and it meant they lifted the Petra Pig trophy. A fantastic achievement for all the squad. Well done to all the players and their mentors for all their efforts. The club meets every Monday evening at Lenzie Meadow at Astro from 4:30pm to 6pm and is open to all in P6, P7. Pupils come from the 4 local primaries, Lenzie Meadow, Miller's Nook, Holy Family and Laresland. Missing person identification. Researchers from the University of Aberdeen have been awarded funding to look at how the photograph chosen by members of missing persons' families may impact the likelihood of them being recognised. The researchers were awarded funding from the Royal Society of Edinburgh to look at whether it may be more effective to use a photo in which the missing person is expressing emotion, like sadness, when appealing to the public to find them. According to the National Crime Agency, about 425 individuals went missing every day in 2019-2020, and the Scottish Government figures report that police handle more than 22,000 missing person cases every year. One of the most common means to locate missing or wanted persons is the release of the pictures to the general public. However, prior research suggests that people are poor at recognising or remembering missing or wanted individuals when shown a photograph. Dr. Katharina Shitsnapan from the School of Psychology, who's leading the study, explains, "This project will examine the memory processes involved in the search for missing and wanted persons. Specifically, it tests if performance can be improved by using pictures in the search on which the missing persons display emotions. This study is now underway and results are expected later in the year. Bridging payments were introduced in 2021 ahead of the extension of the Scottish Child Payment to 6 to 15 year olds. The final quarterly bridging payment, due in December, will now be doubled to £260, meaning families will receive up to £650 per eligible child this year. All children registered to receive free school meals on the basis of family low income are eligible and will receive this payment automatically. Total Scottish Government funding for the bridging payments will increase to an estimated £169 million across 2021 and 2022. This is in addition to the Scottish Child Payment, which will be extended to all eligible under 16s from the 14th of November and will rise to £25 per child per week on the same date, a 150% increase in the benefit within 8 months. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said, "I am proud of the work the Scottish Government is doing to tackle child poverty. The Scottish Child Payment is paid to eligible families and is unique in the United Kingdom. It started for under 6s at £10 per week per eligible child. In April, we doubled it to £20. 5 weeks from today we'll increase it again to £25 and we'll also extend it to families with children up to the age of 16. That is vital financial help for well over 100,000 children, delivered in time for Christmas. That is a sign of a government with the right priorities. But we need to do more, because we know this winter is going to be really tough. Rather than looking forward to Christmas, too many families will be dreading it because they don't know if they can afford to heat their homes or even pay for food. As part of our help to the poorest families for the last year in this, ahead of rolling out the Scottish Child Payment to under 16s, we have made quarterly bridging payments of £130 to children and young people in receipt of free school meals. I am delighted that the Scottish Government will double the December payment from £130 to £260. That will help put food on the Christmas table for families of 145,000 children and young people.
Season underway. An article written by Brian Yule and read by myself, Corey. Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth ASC travelled to Sheffield to open their first season in Division 3 of the British Water Polo League. They made a great start to the campaign by coming from below the drawing with Watford before a resounding win over Solihull. In the first match, the teams fought out a close first quarter, with Watford edging in 2-1. But the Hertfordshire side turned it up a notch in the second quarter to take a 6-3 lead at half-time. With McDonald, Arbus and Cornaglia all scoring in the third quarters, and Simons saving 2 penalties, Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth took the lead for the first time at 8-7, and then scored first in the fourth quarter to make it 9-7. Watford rallied late to score 3 unanswered goals to retake the lead 10-9, with 2 minutes left on the clock. But the lead only lasted 17 seconds, as Smith drove up the right side to grab an equaliser as the game finished at 10-10. Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth played at speed right from the start of the game against Solihull, taking a 6-1 lead in the first quarter. It was a similar story in the second quarter, as strong defence and fast counter-attacking saw them up 12-3 at half-time. The script didn't change in the third quarter as Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth added another 8 scores to the lead, 4-20. The most exciting play of the match came at the end of the quarter, when Watford had a player excluded and the Scots called a time out, with just 13 seconds left on the clock. They then played the ball around the arc skillfully, scoring just 1 second on the clock. In the fourth quarter, Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth scored another 6 unanswered goals to win the game 26-4, which leaves sitting in second place in the league table. A young Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth side started their Scottish Water Polo League campaign with a 12-12 draw against Western Baths. With many senior and under-19 players unavailable for the match, the under-17 and under-15 players stepped up to fill the team roster. The first quarter was a close affair, with Western edging it 2-1. But they extended the gap in the second quarter to lead 6-3 at half-time. The match came alive in the third quarter with Western taking control to lead 9-4. However, Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth moved up a gear and counter-attacked successfully, with Morrison and Kidd scoring 5 unanswered goals to level at 9-9 by the start of the fourth quarter. Western regrouped to lead 12-9, but with Kirkintilloch and Kilsyth goalkeeper Wood making some crucial saves, her side felt confident to attack and brought the score back to 12-11. They were not finished there though, and with 10 seconds left on the clock, head coach Nico Fenu called a time out to prepare the team for one last attack. From the restart, Wood passed to Henderson, with Western Jacob ejected from the game for a major foul. Henderson then passed to herself, moved into a shooting position, and scored the equaliser with 5 seconds left on the clock. Western had time for one last attack, but the effort was easily saved by Wood. Morrison was the top scorer with 8 goals, and 3 from Kidd, and 1 from Henderson. That article written by Brian Yule, and read by me, Corey. Maxwell. Pressure is on for us to perform. An article written by Brian Yule. Kirkintilloch Rob Roy manager Stuart Maxwell admits the pressure is all on his side to deliver when they travel to Easterhouse Academy in the WOS League Cup on Saturday. Rob Roy currently sit second in the WOSFL Premier Division on goal difference, while Easterhouse are 8th in the 4th Division. Maxwell knows only too well the pitfalls of playing lower league opposition after being knocked out of the last season's competition on penalties by Lanark United, having been up 2-0 in the 90th minute. Maxwell said, "Easterhouse have nothing to lose. Everyone will expect us to win, so the pressure is on us to perform. Some players who haven't had much game time this season will be given the opportunity to stake a claim for a jersey, and there are plenty of boys who feel they have something to prove. We know anything can happen in a one-off game, and with no extra time in this competition, we need to make sure that we get the job 90 minutes. Because, as we have found, penalties can be a lottery." Rob Roy had no fixtures this weekend, but Rossvale Academy, Petershill, Ashfield and Glasgow Perthshire were all in action in South Challenge Cup. Rossvale won 2-1 at home to Irvine with goals from Jack Crumlish and Gavin Goodall, but Academy lost 3-2 after extra time as they hosted Shotts Bon Accord. Despite John Brax giving them the lead, Petershill are also out after Vale of Clyde came back for 2-1 away win, while Petershill went down 5-1 at home to Kilwinning Rangers with Ryan Gemmell scoring for the hosts. However, Ashfield are through after goals from Jordan Perry and Craig Young gave them a 2-0 win at home to Thorn Athletic. In the third round next month, Rossvale host Johnston Borough, while Ashfield head to Maryhill. West Park United travel to face Eglinton in the WOSFL 4th Division, recording a 4-1 win. Stefan Graham helped himself to a hat-trick and Jordan Thompson got the other as West Park moved into second place, just 1 goal worse off than leaders Kilsyth Athletic. Joining Rob Roy as WOS Cup action this weekend are Ashfield, who host Vale of Clyde and Rossvale Academy, who are away to Wishaw. Petershill are away to Cambuslang Rangers in the Premier Division, Rossvale are at home to St Cadoc's in the First Division. Perthshire are away to St Anthony's in the Second Division. West Park have no fixture. Glasgow City returned to action in the SWPL 1 with a 6-0 win away to Hamilton Accies to continue their 100% start to the campaign. Lauren Davidson scored a hat-trick on penalties, while Priscilla Chinchilla, Kinga Kozak and Abby Grant also found the net. City face a double-header away to Glasgow Women as they meet in the league tonight, Wednesday, and then again on Sunday in the Sky Sports Cup. Rossvale Women were held 1-1 away to Morton in the SWF Championship, and next up are home to bottom of the table Dryborough. An article written by Brian Yule. Tigers are finally able to fulfil fixture. Glasgow Tigers were finally able to fulfil their final league fixture of the season away to Plymouth Gladiators. The meeting was originally scheduled to take place in August, but track was deemed unraceable due to a damp patch. Tigers aimed to head back to Devon prior to facing Pole in the first leg of the SGB Championship playoff final, but again, things didn't go to plan. Last week, both teams were able to get out on the track, with the home side winning 54-36, although the result had no bearing on the final standings and just had to be completed in order to finish the programmed fixtures. The Tigers are also due to compete in the final of the Jubilee League against Leicester and Pole, but the details of these fixtures have still to be confirmed. Meanwhile, Tigers ace Craig Cook attends the Ratho Coaches Scottish Open Championship as Edinburgh Monarchs bid farewell to Armadale Stadium. Cook enjoyed a successful spell at Monarchs earlier in his career, winning the league twice, and holds the record as the fastest man to ever go around the West Lothian track. He had actually been scheduled to compete in the event, but was handed an SCB ban following his failure to arrive at Plymouth, meaning that Cook's role was reduced to that of a spectator as he joined more than 20 former Monarchs in the crowd. The trophy was lifted by home captain Sam Masters, who would have won all his heats, but for a lost chain, while leading his second right, as the event was completed in the rain, which was not to the liking of every rider.
Thank you for listening to this week's Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, brought to you by Q & Review Print Speaking to the Blind. If you've any feedback, you're welcome to call us on 0141 772 3976. If you enjoyed this recording, feel free to subscribe to our channel.